That's not the digital magical thing. The microphone.
No.
Sorry.
Here are a few memorable moments in my life with my brother Ken. First, he being 8.5 years older than me, spent most of my early years with his cousins, or my cousins, who were same age as Ken. But I first remember when aged 7 or 8, we had a budgie, Bluey. It had escaped from the house as he was let out of the cage. Although he had his wing clipped, flew outside. My brother was able to catch him using a scout hat that I thought was very clever. Also, my cousin Jackie pulling him by the seat of his pants off an electric wire to stop him being electrocuted. That was not so clever. Going to our Kelly's Point with Mum and Dad to see him on his yacht, the Siren, disappearing into the distance between Rangitoto and Waiheke Island and heading to Rarotonga for pearl shell and copra trading. Much later, he bought an old army hut and used it as a batch at Waiheke Island. At a later stage, seeing him off from Wynyard Wharf on a Tahitian, 100-foot schooner to America with Dr. Tom Davis, who later became leader in the Rarotongan government. I watched him sail out of Auckland on the government ship Golden Hind, and he was Wallis operator and purser. And a number of other ships. When I was about 8, he joined the Royal New Zealand Air Force. I didn't see a lot of Ken after he went to Australia, where he met his wife-to-be, Jocelyn. But I do remember him as a pilot. I was in a band, and we called in at Suva. I saw Joss and the girls. They came to see the ship sail as my brother was flying. But about to leave, my brother Ken flew over the ship, waggled his wings. I don't know whether he had any passengers on board, but I got a great thrill out of it. Fly us to the moon, brother Ken. I've recorded a home version yesterday. Love to all. Bye.
Hello, I'm Margie, I'm the baby of the family, and I've just written a few words about my dad. My dad was the most patient man I've ever known, and while he is gone, he will never be forgotten. I have only fond memories of Dad. When I was 4, we embarked on our big adventure around Fiji on our yacht, stopping off at various uninhabited islands. One of our stops was Mana Island, and I'm not sure why we were on the beach at night, but we could hear strange noises. And Dad, being the knowledgeable man that he was, knew exactly what it was, and assured us it was the crabs having a party under the sand. What else could it have been? Another memory from when I was very young was at Christmas time. I cut out Christmas stars from my special stash of paper, Dad's old flying schedules, to decorate the tree. Only this time perhaps I've not got the paper from the special stash, as it was the new flying schedule he needed for that week. Oops, I was in trouble. I remember having to, probably with his help, tape it back together so that he could fly to the correct destination. Putting pinprick holes all over his captain's hat was also not well received. It was air conditioning for his head, or so I told him, because it was really hot in Fiji. My little inquiring mind would often ask Dad where he was off to and what he was doing. And he was always going to see a man about a dog. But he never brought the dog, and I was most upset. It took many years for me to happily answer the phone because occasionally, when Dad was on standby and he had better things to do, I would have to answer the phone to say that he was at the yacht club having a drink. Thus, he was unable to fly. The only thing my dad failed at in life was how to teach me maths. It was not for lack of trying. I can remember him sitting with me for hours, patiently explaining what prime numbers were and talking about such things as pi and long division. Unfortunately, all his skills had been wasted on me, as had already been absorbed by my sisters. Finally, I was the proudest girl in the world, standing at an airport, either Nassori in Suva or Auckland, knowing my dad was in control of the plane that was landing. I so wanted to shout it from the mountaintops. I would almost burst with pride. I love you to the moon and back, Dad. Now you can fly forever, soaring through the clouds of heaven and to the moon and beyond.
We now have a representative from the RSA who is going to share some words with us. Sorry, someone's going to share from the Air Force? Randall?
I don't actually have a lot to say after hearing what you've all said about Ken. It leaves me flabbergasted. He's such a wonderful man, had such a wonderful life. Jocelyn, you're very lucky.
I am.
I thank you very much.
There's an opportunity now for anyone else like to share any words with us. Well, thank you everyone, particularly Ken's daughters, for sharing with us your memories of your father, and particularly his love for flying in the sea, which we'll remember later in the service as well. We're now going to have a reading from Scripture, a reading that Jocelyn has chosen, which sums up for her love of Ken and his love for God.
Good afternoon. I'm David. I'm the eldest grandson. I'm going to read a passage of scripture from 1 Corinthians, chapter 13, verse 1 to 13. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am a noisy gong or a clashing cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. If I give away all I have, and if I deliver up my body to be burned, but have not love, I am nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful. It is not arrogant or rude. Love does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrong, but rejoices in the right. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Now, love never ends. As for prophecies, they will pass away. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will pass away. for our knowledge is imperfect and prophecy is imperfect. But when the perfect comes, the imperfect will pass away. When I was a child, I spoke like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. But when I became a man, I gave up childish ways. For now I see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall understand fully, even as I have been fully understood. So faith, hope, love abide these three, but the greatest of these is love.
We've heard today in our reading and in our tributes something of the nature of love. In the reading from 1 Corinthians, St. Paul talks of a love that will never pass away, a love that always abides with us. For God's love for us and his desire that we should spend eternity with him is not just a promise of the past, but a promise to us all. And so I believe we cannot go from here and leave Ken's life simply as a memory of the past. I believe that through death, life has a future. The Christian faith teaches us that in death, life is changed and not taken away. Ken's life has been changed so he may continue his journey to God. If life's purpose is to learn how to love, then after death we continue to learn to be more loving. That process continues until we reach perfect love, which is God. And we know about life through death because of the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So trusting in God's promise of new life through death, we offer back to God the life of Ken, with our thanks and love for all that he meant to us. We can be sure God still surrounds him with love as he begins his new life. We can be sure God's love is still strong for us as we continue our lives here together. So holding Ken's memory and God's love in our hearts, we're now going to have a musical reflection performed by Ken's grandchildren as their tribute to him. May it be a time for us to reflect on Ken, on God's love, and Ken's memory in particular. Thank you. Thank you for sharing us with us a tribute to your grandfather. Now we're going to have a time of prayer as we draw together our grief and seek God's comfort and give thanks for Ken's life. Concluding those prayers, we will say the Lord's Prayer together, which I hope you all know off by heart. So let us pray. Let us pray that God will grant comfort and strength to all who mourn. God, our loving Father, draw near to Jocelyn, Lynette and Graham, Shirley and Brian, Margaret and Michael, Ken's brother Des, and all the grandchildren and great-grandchildren gathered today. And all of us who mourn. Make your love known to us, that we may turn to you and receive comfort and strength. Help us to put our trust in you and in the hope of your grace and compassion. And support us all, Lord, all the day long until the shadows lengthen and the evening comes. The busy world is hushed, the fever of life is over, and like Ken, our work is done. Then give us your mercy and safe lodging, a holy rest and peace at the last. For you have ordered this wondrous world, O God, and you know all things in earth and heaven. So fill our hearts with trust in you, that by day and by night, at all times and in all seasons, you may without fear commit those who are dear to us to your never-failing love. For this life and the life to come, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. So we say together that